most ridiculous fact your child has ever been taught in school. My daughter's second grade teacher told her class that narwhals are mythical creatures like unicorns and dragons. When I picked Sophie up from school, the principal was waiting for me. Mrs. Hayes, we need to discuss Sophie's behavior. She's been arguing with Mrs. Hamilton and talking back. This isn't like her. Sophie was the sweetest kid. This made no sense. What happened? She needs to learn to respect her teacher's authority. Mrs. Hamilton will email you the details. Sophie wouldn't say a word the whole ride home. She went straight to her room. The email just said she'd been disruptive during science lessons and had an attitude problem. That evening, it was the day after Halloween, and I thought decorating for Christmas early might cheer her up. We set up our tree and hung ornaments. I put on Elf for background music while we untangled lights. Everything was fine until Mr. Narwhal appeared on screen. Sophie burst into tears. Baby, what's wrong? I tried to tell her, Mommy. I tried to tell her narwhals are real. You study them. I've seen your pictures. But Mrs. Hamilton said I was lying and making things up. Wait, what? In our fantasy versus reality unit, she put narwhals with the unicorns and dragons. Sophie took a shaky breath. Tommy said they were real too. He saw one on a nature show. But Mrs. Hamilton said, I'm sure he's seen a yeti on TV as well. Then she told us movies and TV trick kids into thinking made-up animals are real. My heart broke. Sophie knew what I did for a living. She'd seen all my research photos and expedition videos. I told her my mom is a marine biologist and you studied narwhals in Canada. She paused, her voice getting smaller. She said parents tell their kids lots of things to make them feel special, and I shouldn't believe everything you say. I'm a marine biologist with a PhD in cetacean behavior. I spent 3 months in the Arctic studying narwhal migration patterns, and this teacher was telling my daughter I was lying to her? Is that why you got in trouble? Sophie nodded. I kept saying they were real. I said you had pictures. She said I was being disruptive. Then I told her it would literally take one Google search to prove they're real. She looked up at me. That's when she sent me to the principal. She said if I mentioned it again, I'd get detention. You were absolutely right to stand up for the truth, baby. Tomorrow we'll print the photos and try again. She nodded, wiping her eyes. The next morning, I printed my best expedition photos and emailed Mrs. Hamilton, offering to do a presentation about Arctic wildlife. Her response came an hour later. Thank you, but I prefer to stick to the approved curriculum. Please remind Sophie to respect classroom rules. I sent Sophie to school with the photos anyway. She came home devastated. Mrs. Hamilton showed the whole class my pictures. I set down my coffee. That's good, right? She looked at them. Sophie shook her head. No, Mommy. She said they were fake. What? She said this was a perfect example of why we can't believe everything on the internet. She gave us a whole lesson about AI making fake pictures. Sophie's voice cracked. She showed everyone these AI unicorns that looked real. I felt my blood pressure rising. She said my photos were AI. Sophie nodded. She said you probably got tricked online. Or, she looked down. Or what, baby? Or maybe you were trying to make me feel special by pretending your job was more exciting than it really is. I lost it. I called the school and demanded a parent-teacher conference. The next day, Mrs. Hamilton greeted me warmly. Mrs. Hayes, I'm so glad you came in. Sophie is such a special student. I sat down, trying to stay calm. About the narwhal issue. Yes, I wanted to discuss that. She folded her hands on her desk. You know how challenging it is these days with all the misinformation online. I'm just trying to teach critical thinking. I pulled out my phone, ready with the photos. But narwhals are real. I'm a marine biologist. I have photos from my expedition. She looked at them politely, nodding along. These are impressive. You know what? Let me review the curriculum again. Maybe there's room for adjustment. So you'll correct us? She gave me a reassuring smile. I'll definitely look into it. We want to make sure Sophie feels heard. I left feeling cautiously optimistic. The next morning, Sophie got a 0 on her real or make-believe quiz. She'd categorized narwhals as real and was marked wrong. The note said, see me about believing stories versus facts. I went straight to Principal Davies with my laptop, research credentials, and documentation. I also pulled up the school's website claiming they teach science-based factual curriculum. When Mrs. Hamilton was called in, she doubled down. I'm teaching digital literacy. Anyone can fake anything now. Tomorrow someone will claim Bigfoot is real with AI photos. Principal Davies turned his laptop toward her. Mrs. Hamilton, please Google narwhal. Wikipedia came up immediately. Then the World Wildlife Fund. Then the Smithsonian. Those could all be based on the same hoax, Mrs. Hamilton insisted. That's how misinformation spreads. Principal Davies made 2 quick calls on speaker. The aquarium confirmed they have a narwhal tusk in their Arctic exhibit, and my department head confirmed I'd led an Arctic expedition. Mrs. Hamilton's face went red. Well, how was I supposed to know? They look made up. By semester's end, the school had updated their science materials. Mrs. Hamilton was required to attend professional development on digital literacy and factual verification. She changed Sophie's quiz grade to an A, the one she should have gotten all along.